All right, welcome to a deep dive into a topic you guys wanted to explore more.
Yeah, this should be good.
It seems like a lot of you are really interested in this whole idea of like achieving your goals, making your dreams happen, all of that. And a bunch of you sent in this YouTube video. It's Jim Rohn, right?
Yep, Jim Rohn.
Talking about his 5 secrets for success. And I gotta say, just watching it myself, I found it super motivating.
Oh yeah, he's a really compelling speaker.
Yeah, and what's cool is he's not just like some guru up on a stage, you know?
Right.
He actually lived this stuff. Like, he started from nothing, built this amazing life.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes him so relatable, I think.
Totally. So we're gonna break down each of these 5 secrets, see what they're all about.
That was good.
And we'll use some stories from Ron's life to kind of illustrate them.
Perfect.
So, secret number 1 is, and you've probably heard this before, but it's deciding what you really want.
The big question, right?
Yeah, and I feel like we all get caught up in like the daydreaming phase.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I want this, I want that. But Ron says most people never actually decide.
Yeah, they never really commit to a specific destination.
It's like having a GPS but not putting in an address.
Exactly.
You're just going to be driving around aimlessly.
You'll get somewhere, but it might not be where you really wanted to go.
Exactly. And that's where Ron's own story comes in. So he's 25 years old, broke, feeling totally lost, and he meets this guy, Mr. Schoaf, who becomes his mentor.
A turning point in his life.
Huge turning point. And like, I love this. Schoaf doesn't just give him a plan.
He doesn't say, here's what you do.
Right. He challenges Ron to define his own desires. Like, really get specific.
Because we all say we want success, but what does that even mean?
It's different for everyone.
Totally. For Ron, he wanted financial independence. He wanted to travel the world. He wanted to become a person of influence.
And those are all very different goals.
Each requiring a different set of actions.
Okay, so you got to decide what you want, but then comes the hard part, right? Actually doing something about it.
That's secret number 2. Massive action.
And I'm guessing it's not just any action, right?
Nope, not at all. Ron's really big on intentional action.
So it's got to be aligned with those goals you just defined.
Precisely. And it's got to be massive enough to like create momentum.
Okay, so not just little baby steps.
You can start with those, but you've got to be willing to really push yourself.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, right? We get all excited and then we fizzle out.
Happens to the best of us.
So how do we avoid that?
Well, Ron talks about his own experience in business. He started with like no knowledge, faced tons of rejection.
Oof, I can relate to that.
But he just kept taking action. Yeah. He learned from his mistakes, refined his approach.
It's like that whole snowball effect, right?
Exactly. Start small, gains momentum, becomes unstoppable.
I like that. So what does that look like for, our listener?
It's about figuring out the most impactful actions for their specific goal.
And then actually doing them consistently, even when it's hard.
Like training for a marathon, You can't just expect to show up on race day and win.
Got to put in the work, huh?
You got to train, you got to push yourself.
All right, that makes sense. Okay, so we've decided what we want. We're taking massive action. What's secret number 3?
This one's all about who you surround yourself with.
Interesting.
Ron says, you become like the people you spend the most time with.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that before. The law of association. Well,
exactly. Your environment shapes you in a powerful way.
And he tells this great story about his mentor, Mr. Schoaf, who said to him, if you want to fly with the eagles, stop hanging out with the turkeys.
Classic line.
Right. And I think it makes you really think about your own circle of influence.
Yeah. Are the people you're closest to lifting you up, or are they kind of holding you back?
It's a tough question to ask yourself.
It is, but it's important. Because if everyone around you is settling for mediocrity, it's easy to get pulled down to that level.
So it's not about being like a social climber or anything.
No, not at all. It's about being intentional with who you let into your inner circle.
So seek out mentors, connect with peers who challenge you, put yourself in environments that foster growth.
Exactly.
And sometimes that means distancing yourself from people who, even if you love them, might be reinforcing limiting beliefs.
It's not about cutting people off. It's about making choices that support your growth and well-being.
Okay, that's deep. All right, so we've got decision, action, association. What's secret number 4?
This one's all about mindset.
Ooh, getting into the mental game now.
This is where things get really interesting. Ron draws on this classic idea, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
I've heard that quote before.
Your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions, they all shape your reality.
He's not talking about like magical thinking.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But he's saying that your mindset plays a huge role in your success.
Okay, and this is where he talks about fixed mindset versus growth mindset, right?
Yeah, exactly. Fixed mindset is like, I'm either good at this or I'm not, which leads to a fear of failure, avoiding challenges.
Makes sense.
Growth mindset, on the other hand, embraces challenges, sees failures as opportunities to learn and grow.
So how do we make that shift from fixed to growth?
Well, Ron credits his mentor, Mr. Show, for helping him shift from blaming external factors to taking responsibility for his own life.
Whoa.
He went from feeling like a victim of circumstance to believing in his own power to change.
And it all starts with becoming more aware of your self-talk. Okay?
Exactly. Are you using limiting language like, I can't? Or are you focusing on possibilities, saying things like, I haven't learned that yet, but I can?
That's a powerful distinction.
It really is. So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I'll leave you with this question. What kind of mindset are you cultivating?
Because that affects everything, right? How you approach challenges, how you interpret setbacks.
Everything.
And we'll pick up with secret number 5, all about consistency, in the next part of our deep dive. So stay tuned. All right, so we're back, and I'm really excited to dive into this next secret because, mindset is huge, right?
Yeah.
But it's not enough to just, think the right thoughts. You got to actually do something.
Exactly. You got to walk the walk.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Ron's 5th secret.
Yeah.
Which is all about consistency.
Consistency.
He calls it the glue, the glue that holds everything together.
I like that.
Because we've all had those moments, right? Where we're like super inspired. We're going to conquer the world. We're ready to go. We've got all this energy.
Yeah.
And then life happens.
Tell me about it.
We get busy or distracted. Things come up. And that motivation, poof, gone.
I've been there so many times, like start with these grand plans and then BFF2.
It's a common struggle. And I think part of it is we live in this world of instant gratification.
Yeah, we want results like that.
Exactly. We want it NOBU.
Yeah.
But real success, the kind that lasts, that takes time. It takes consistent effort.
You talk about the long game, huh?
The long game, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think Ron's own story is so powerful because he talks about, working really hard, facing setbacks.
Yeah, did he ever?
And not seeing those big results for weeks, sometimes even months.
Wow.
But he kept going, He trusted the process. And eventually things started to take off.
He's like the epitome of persistence pays off.
Absolutely. And it's a great reminder for anyone listening who might be feeling a little discouraged because they haven't achieved their goals yet.
Yeah, don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep refining those actions, keep learning, keep going, and trust that consistency over time. It really does create those massive results.
Okay, that's encouraging. But how do you stay motivated when it's tough? Like when you're not seeing those results yet?
That's where having a strong why comes in.
Oh, your why.
Yeah, your why. Because when things get tough, when you hit those roadblocks, and you will, it's that deeper reason, that burning desire that's going to keep you going.
It's like your fuel, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's your fuel. So ask yourself, what are you working towards? Why is it so important to you? And having that clarity, it's really going to help you stay focused, stay motivated, even when you feel like quitting.
So it's like, even when you get off track, you can kind of come back to that.
Yeah, it's like that internal compass that guides you back.
I love that. So for you listening, what's your why? What's driving you towards your biggest goal? Take a moment to think about that because it's powerful stuff.
It is. Now, Ron also talks about this concept called the slight edge, which I find fascinating.
It's just light edge. Okay.
It's this idea that like small, seemingly insignificant actions,
Okay.
when you repeat them consistently over time, they can create massive results.
So it's not about like these huge overnight changes.
Not necessarily, no. It's about those tiny little things you do every day that add up over time.
Give me an example.
Okay, so he uses the example of reading. Like imagine you commit to reading just 10 pages a day.
10 pages, that's not too bad.
Right. Doesn't seem like much. But over a year, that adds up to like 12 books.
Wow, yeah.
Whereas if you read nothing, well, you stay stagnant.
Makes sense. So it's about those small wins.
It is. And the cool thing is, this applies to anything, right?
Yeah.
Fitness, finances, relationships, anything. It's the compound effect of consistency.
I love that. It takes the pressure off,
It does. Because you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You just got to start taking action.
One step at a time.
Even if it's just one small step each day. So what could you commit to doing consistently, starting today, that would move you closer to your goal?
I love that question. It could be anything, right?
Anything. 15 minutes working on a project, learning a new skill, going for a walk, whatever it is, just do it consistently.
And those small actions really do add up over time.
They really do. And here's the cool thing. When you start seeing those small wins, you start making progress, it creates this positive feedback loop. It reinforces your commitment, keeps you motivated.
So you're kind of like encouraging yourself to keep going?
Exactly. It's like that snowball effect all over again.
Yeah.
Build momentum, which makes it easier to stay consistent, which leads to even more progress.
It's like a cycle of success almost.
It is. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Decision, action, association, mindset, consistency.
Wow, yeah.
But it's not just a checklist, right?
Yeah, not at all.
These 5 secrets, they work together, they reinforce each other.
It's like this upward spiral of growth and achievement,
Exactly. And that's what makes Ron's message so powerful.
Yeah, and it's inspiring to hear, someone who actually walked the walk. But I think what really sets Jim Rohn apart is that, he doesn't just leave you with these feel-good ideas.
Yeah, he gives you the tools to actually apply them, which is huge.
Right? It's not just like, go be successful, good luck. He's like, here's how.
Exactly. And to bring it back to our listeners, thinking about their own lives, it's about asking yourself, okay, I've learned these 5 secrets, but what's the one thing, the one small action that I can actually commit to today?
That aligns with your most important goal.
Right, because it's got to be relevant to what you want to achieve. That's where the rubber meets the road.
It takes it out of that theoretical realm and into, okay, what am I actually going to do?
And that's where the power of the slight edge comes in.
Yeah.
It's not about making these huge, overwhelming changes all at once.
Right.
It's about taking one small step and then another and then another consistently over time.
Because those tiny actions repeated day after day, they actually add up, right?
They do. They really do. Think about it. Compound interest, right?
Okay, yeah.
But it's like compound interest for your actions, for your efforts.
I think a lot of times people get stuck because they try to do too much at once.
Oh, yeah. They get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And then they don't see immediate results, so they just quit.
Happens all the time, right? But Ron's approach, it's so much more sustainable because it's about building those positive habits one at a time.
Until they become second nature almost.
Exactly. And then as you master one area, you move on to the next. It's a continuous cycle.
Because you're always growing, always improving.
Very idea, yeah.
That's really cool. And it's empowering because you don't have to be perfect right now.
Nope, not at all. You don't have to have it all figured out.
So just start taking those small steps, right?
Keep taking them in the direction of your dreams. That's what matters.
And that's something everyone can do no matter where they're starting from.
Absolutely. Focus on what you can control. Your choices, your actions, your mindset, and trust the process.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Jim Rohn's 5 secrets to achieving everything you want, just remember, you have the power within you to create the life that you desire.
It's not about overnight success. It's not about some magical formula. It's about consistently making those choices. It's about embracing those slight edges, those little things that add up over time, and trusting that they will lead to extraordinary results.
So believe in yourself, take action, and never underestimate the power of consistency.
Keep exploring these ideas. The more you learn, the more you grow, the closer you get to unlocking your full potential.
And hey, this is just the beginning of your journey.